just embedded, into our brain. I always say that. Look at Bin Laden and George Bush. There are great affinities between these two. They both think that they're connected to higher power. They both think they're superior than others. They both have a religious cause. They both thinking that they are serving mankind. But they cannot see that these two are really the two sides of a coin. One from east, one from the west. And that's what I mean, that how we deny each other's based on such a superficial differences, and we take those things to be very, very, very different. And the religious leader, for God's sake, they distinguish themselves so differently, so make sure that I don't dress like that guy. My appearance is not like him. Pope doesn't have beard, Ayatollah has a big beard. They have, turbans. Pope has something else on his head. This distinguishing only just adds more and more to the trouble and makes the deep problem underneath, but this thing's just bigger and bigger. So these social habits that gradually, picked up, gets deeper and turns into racism, which is the social disease. So Baha'u'llah, as I said, diagnostically says that, okay, this is the problem, we diagnose, you know it. So he writes, as Shobi Effendi calls it, prescription, he prescribed few things. First of all, he orders to the Baha'is, his followers, and the rest of the world if they like to listen, he says, actually associate with the other people of other religion. How could you love them if you don't know them? Just try to know who these Buddhists are, who these Hindus are, who are these Christians and Muslims, or atheists for that matter. Just try to know them, associate with them, and once you know them, perhaps to put these barriers away and you see in the bottom they're human beings, they're great characters, it's kindness, it's generosity, and it's all one color. The rest of the things is on the top, superficial. So this is one of his diagnostic, and he says, in a practical way, let's practice this. And he says to the Baha'is, you actually can marry the people of different religion, because we do not want this superficial differences. Even your religion, which is a Baha'i, seems to be a superficial thing, as opposed to its goal. The very goal of the Baha'i faith is bigger than the Baha'i faith itself. The goal is that people are united and love each other, especially if they do, both of them are kind and nice. Because Baha'u'llah's religion really, mission is around the center point of unity of the good people. Bad people are not too many. He says the bad people, the good people, they don't get along, and because they're ignorant or oblivion, they do not see each other, and as a result, the bad things comes out of it. So the second prescription is that essentially he says, let's know each other. And then he goes further on and he says, all right, perhaps if we want to know each other, we have to have the same language. So let's learn an auxiliary language besides your mother tongue, which nowadays his prescription again is taken. Mankind discovered it, that they all should speak one language, as they do English language right now. And that has caused more people to be able to communicate with each other and know each other. And they find that actually love and unity can be everywhere. And finally, Shobi Effendi teaches us, we'll bring that up, he says that this unity should be within diversity. We should not hope and that one day, okay, all the people of the world, they become Baha'i, and among the Baha'is, they're going to be thinking all the same way, like Mr. Joe Blow, or this and that. He says, listen, so many years passed. 1,000, 2,000 Christian could not turn Muslim into Christians. Muslim, they couldn't turn Christian into Muslim. Buddhists, Hindus. You guys are exhausted after 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years. This is it. It's saturated, and at this point, we have these major populations, billion each: Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus. You're out here. You can't get along. So let's use a different pattern. He says, how about we accept these differences and try to unite ourselves within this diversity? So Baha'u'llah does not want you to go convert a person to confirm your belief. No. He says Baha'i faith is a highway, a means to become the kindness and those qualities to be achieved. That's the goal. Now, if you can do it through your own way, go ahead. This is my highway towards me, but if you like to fly, or you want to walk, or you want to get this mountain, or you want to go underground, or you want to creep, any way you like, go ahead. However, for making it easy towards that big oneness, big unity, big love, I suffered so many years in jail to create this highway. You go through this highway. But if you don't want, we're not pushing you. So Shoghi Effendi says, we do not want to get rid of the religions of the past. We actually will enhance their values and try to think what we can do, find out how we can improve on them, or in the system. So this is the ultimate teaching of the Baha'i faith, that let us unite with diversity. Let's understand diversity is beautiful. Before you sit as an example, we do not need to get this guy and tell him that, okay, you have to change your habit because you guys are doing this and that, unless seriously it's against humanity. I'm going to be talking about these things. Some nations have ethics that is their social habits that seriously conflicts with their life, or is not acceptable to other people at the time. It has to be, changed or revisited to see how they can work in it. So in order to create these good personal habits, I guess if they come together, there has to be a mannerism in which we can at least prevent to hurt each other's feelings and everything else. And here Baha'u'llah says to be polite. The politeness in behavior and attitude is essential. He goes to say that, he's quoting it from the writing of the Bab, says that if you're impolite, you have no religion, you have no faith. You're faithless if you're impolite. Politeness is so important that we should be polite in order to be able to, lubricating easier. Whether now we'll talk about ethics of being polite. Polite is essentially to adopt a means of behaving, an attitude that the person in front of you or other people do not get hurt by you, whether it is your appearance, let's say your foot or your mouth smells when you're getting close. Baha'u'llah says you have to wash your foot 3 times a day, in winter once, in summer more, because you don't want to have a bad smell when you're talking to people. Your voice, your tone of voice should not be loud. Slow it down when you're talking to people. That becomes just, easy. Do not backbite. Do not speak behind a person who's not around. And lots of time is not a malicious things that people do. It just seems that they have nothing else to do but to talk about other things. It's another bad habit. He says, stay away from it. If it comes onto you, it's this feeling, just talk about yourself, the bad things you have, backbite yourself, find fault in yourself. Don't find fault in others, and don't bring it up. It's really, really things. One of those politeness, for example, a lot of people in the East, I've been in India for 4 years, I've seen it. People use their hand, so it's an Arabic country right now, they plunge their hand into the food and they eat it. It's really gross to a lot of the standards of the people, even among the Indian themselves and Muslims. So Baha'u'llah says, do not use, plunge your hand into the food. Again, it's a habit that we have. It seems to contradict with that politeness. I don't know how you can wash your hand fully and completely in order to do that. Again, another things that I could mention that he says, sometimes people invite you for a meeting, for something. We say that, well, I can't go there because they're not like me, and those guys are Jewish or they're Muslims, and I can't attend their meeting. I don't know how to be myself or behave. Baha'u'llah says, set aside. If they're invited for a meeting, for a celebration, for a party, please accept it. It's something that it's not, again, polite. It helps us to communicate, to lubricate. This is not making you a spiritual, but it's a catalyst. It causes the spirituality to come. That's what politeness is. When your body is clean, when you wash it, which Baha'u'llah says, you can't even have a stain on your dress. This pleasancy and the pleasant behavior and attitude and appearance has an effect in, putting a smile on somebody else's face. And it's easier for them to accept you. It's just a matter of being polite. Why? Because we want to communicate and we want to know you. And by knowing you, then it creates gradually a love between maybe our children they marry. So we do not go deep into differences that might become harmful to the nations, to the mankind, On the same, token, he says there are many, many things, of course, but there's some of it I thought to mention. For example, it says use perfume. Baha'u'llah says when you go out, use perfume. Let, you smell good. People pass by you. They don't, stench, of the breath of your body or of clothes.